Okay, ladies and gents, Joy. I feel like I'm a broken record. I've been saying these things for a long time. Um, people, some people are listening, some people are not. Hopefully, uh, hopefully they revisit their ways. Mm. For example, not too long ago, a person asked me, "Yeah, you talk about the church all the time. Yeah, you want to do good things. So why don't you give your money to uh, this guy who collects money from people, and then he helps all the elderly Ethiopians in Addis Ababa?" And I said to myself, well, I don't know this guy that you're talking about. And so in order for me to give money to someone who claims to do good things, the good deeds, I have to revisit my principle. See, I'm a man of principle. Maybe that's why some people don't hold the same principle I have. So we're like strangers, even though we're from the same country. My way of thinking is give the power to the church, and then everything will settle itself. Because think about it: if the power is given back to the church, and there are bad people in the church, because there are bad people even in the church, uh, then those bad people would be dealt with according to the laws of the church, Fatana Guest. And there are things that could be done to a priest if he's a bad priest. Uh, you know, even if he's a patriarch, there are things that you can do within the laws of the church. So we will deal with it within the church laws. But if you take the power of the church by privatizing the old rights of the church, then you're weakening the church, right? You're alienating the church. By that I mean, for example, when a child is born, when your children are born, and you send them to the church so they could be baptized, they get a birth certificate from the church. But that birth certificate is not a legitimate certificate until Mazaga Jabit has you stamped as a person who's born. The same thing when you get married. The church gives you a marriage certificate, but that marriage certificate is not legitimate until Mazaga Jabit has you stamped as married. So wait a minute, if all our horses, how come Mazaga Jabit has legitimate right over certificate, birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate? Why? This was the power that belonged to the church, but we alienated the church and we're giving it to a Mazaga Jabit who doesn't organize anything in the country. Because if everything was organized, we wouldn't be where we are now, right? And why did we even need a Mazaga Jabit in the first place? It's counterproductive. Why? We already have an institution that did all of this. Why do we duplicate? Why do we need to duplicate? Why do we need a Mazaga Jabit? Honestly, we don't need it. The church did that job already. And they've been doing it for a long time, for centuries. So while I'm saying that, let me return to the first thing that the person asked me, why don't you give money to these NGOs that help these elderly people? Well, according to Ethiopian tradition and faith, the church knows you from the time you're born to the time you die. The meaning is that you have to be the child of the church, right? So if you're a child of the church, on your good days and bad days, you belong to the church. You don't belong to some NGO. That means that the church did take care of the elderly, the poor, the needy. I remember going to church in Ethiopia, and going to church in Ethiopia is an experience because you see a lot of poverty. A lot of poor people go to church to receive help. Uh, so on your way to church, you see a lot of things. It's not like you don't see anything. So what I'm trying to say is, by principle, if I want to help the poor and the needy, I'll give my money to the church because that's where my money should go. It shouldn't go to some kind of private entity that steals the role of the church and is disguised as a በጎ አድራጎት ድርጅት, because when we look at the በጎ አድራጎት ድርጅት or NGOs in Ethiopia, and maybe I should make a video on that, maybe that will be my next video. I guarantee you, I haven't even done the research yet, okay, but I guarantee, so imagine I haven't done the research, and I'm telling you, I guarantee you that these በጎ አድራጎት ድርጅት have three common things. Number one, they are mainly Protestant founders, feminist, right? Feminism. They preach feminism, democracy, that kind of thing. So, number one, they're Protestants or Catholic, but mainly Protestant. Okay. So their religion is not Orthodox, is either Protestant or Catholic. So number one is Protestant and Catholic. Number two, they are feminist and they preach democracy. And number three, they are foreign. They are foreign. They're not, they invested, the investors are foreigners. So what I'm trying to say is, these people are foreigners to Ethiopia. They have foreign values from Ethiopia, and their money is foreign, their faith is foreign, their ideology is foreign. So and they're making money on the poor people of Ethiopia since they've been making money since 1984, the famine at that time, all the way to now. They have been, if we count the money they raised, it will be over the Ethiopian GDP. And yet poverty in Ethiopia is growing. It's not decreasing. Because to be honest with you, NGOs is a business. So they're in the business of making us poor. Think about that for a second. They're in the business of making us poor. The more poor people exist in Ethiopia, the more money they can make. And they can also alienate the church by taking money from Ethiopians and others to finance their little NGOs. They're taking away financially from the Church of Ethiopia. And that's how they will have influence in Ethiopia, because they kill the church, they kill the finance, they bring the finance from the way I described. And also they have political influences. Look at Abiy Ahmed now is a Protestant. He's not even Ethiopian. in a lot of ways. He's by race, he's not Ethiopian. By faith, he's not Ethiopian. He doesn't have Ethiopian values. Um, and his investors are not Ethiopian. There you go. So, by principle, I call to all Amharas not to give your money to NGOs. Even if, let's say, even tomorrow, if I open, I myself, an NGO, don't give me money. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm shooting myself in the foot. I'm saying, look, if I open an NGO tomorrow, do not give money to me. You should give money to the church, not to me, by principle. Because እኔ የግል ሰው ነኝ. So I'm going to make money. That means ራሴንም ማስተዳደረው እናንተ በምትሰጡኝ ገንዘብ ነው ማለት ነው. Just like YouTube, some YouTubers, and they want to rack up their subscribers and make money that way. Um, Number one, I don't have too many subscribers, so is that. Number two, I'm not making money off of you. Number three, if you don't like my videos, you can switch channels. I've said that before in another video 4 years ago. What I'm trying to say is, stick to your principle. If you say you love Ethiopia, stick to your principle, your faith, your church. Stick to your church. Why can't you do that?